Situation in Iran. I know there has been a lot of speculation amongst all of you in the media regarding the president's decision-making and whether or not the United States will be directly involved. In light of that news, I have a message directly from the president, and I quote, "Based on the fact that there's a substantial chance of negotiations that may or may not take place with Iran in the near future, I will make my decision whether or not to go within the next 2 weeks." That's a quote directly from the president for all of you.
Trump said US wasn't involved, and that was a lie. Because while he was going on TV claiming he didn't want anyone to escalate, American destroyers were already on the move. US officials were helping Israel shoot Iranian missiles out of the sky. And now, US aircraft carriers are packing themselves near Iranian waters, locked, loaded, and ready for whatever happens next. Trump is saying in 2 weeks, he will decide if he is going in. I mean, you're already in, so what does this remark really mean? This isn't a distant war anymore. This is turning out to be a complete global crisis, and the US, regardless of what Trump is saying, is already right in the thick of it, quietly, carefully, and maybe even deliberately. So let's talk about what's actually happening here and why this matters more than most people realize. So Israel has been hitting targets inside Iran, not just military ones, but nuclear facilities, target intelligence officers, head of military, etc. We're talking strategic strikes meant to cripple Iran's ability to build a nuclear bomb. Since June 13th, Israel has launched about 120 guided bombs targeting nuclear sites. Iranian casualties are around 657 killed and over 1,300 injured. Meanwhile, Iran's been firing back. They have launched between 370 to 491 ballistic missiles since June 13th. Some of those missiles have slipped past Israeli defenses, hit civilian areas, even an Israeli hospital, shown in the MSNBC reporting. And this has triggered air raid sirens in Tel Aviv. Roughly 90% of the missiles and drones were intercepted by Israelis' layered defense. Now, Trump's response? We're not involved. But here's the thing. That statement was already false when he originally said it. Because according to multiple reports, Israel told Trump before launching their first strike. Netanyahu literally said on Fox News and admitted he was in constant contact with Trump. They told the Americans, they coordinated, and this is not just speculation. That's coming straight from Israel's Prime Minister's mouth. 2 days before the strikes, the US was quietly flying non-essential personnel out of the region, moving diplomats, shuffling staff, all while telling the press they weren't involved. So Trump was obviously lying. Now, let's be real. Trump plays dumb in public and pretends to be the guy keeping the peace, while greenlighting the whole thing behind closed doors. Axios, a pretty reliable outlet, reported that Trump gave Israel a quiet green light. They said 2 Israeli officials told them US pretended to be against it publicly to keep Iran off guard. So yes, this is involvement while they're trying to create deception. So while Trump's out here saying, we hope nobody escalates this, he knows darn well Israel's missiles are already in the air. The US isn't just watching from the sidelines. They're actively helping. American warplanes are helping intercept Iranian missiles. US destroyers like the USS Thomas Hudner have been repositioned from the Western Mediterranean to the Eastern Front. Ship spotters even saw the USS Nimitz moving towards the Arabian Sea. This seems like a bit more than just defense. It's almost looking like a chessboard being set up for war. Folks, if you're still here watching, please hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications. It tells the algorithm that this stuff matters. Okay, let's zoom in on the real question. What does Trump actually want here? Because on the surface, he keeps saying stuff like, let them fight it out, much like what's happening in Ukraine. But this is not just some bar brawl that doesn't need US intervention. But then he turns around and posts this on Truth Social. If we are attacked in any way, shape, or form by Iran, the full strength and might of the US armed forces will come down on you at levels never seen before. This is Trump's quote. So which one is it? Are you staying out of it? Or are you one stray missile away from leveling Tehran? Because let's be honest, it doesn't take much to accidentally trigger a US response. An errant missile or Iraq fires a rocket that hits near a US base and boom. Now Trump says his hands are tied. And Iran knows this. That's the scary part. Iranian state media came out immediately after the Israeli attacks, saying the US was absolutely involved. I mean, I even saw images of them burning the American flag and just complete nonsense. But this couldn't have happened without the American help. And they're not just speculating, they're holding the US responsible. And do you know why this matters? Because if Iran decides to retaliate against the US, even symbolically, that's complete war. Not like a cyber war, we're not talking missiles, troops, escalations. That is turning into a real war. The kind that screws with oil prices, global shipping, entire economies, including Canada's. I mean, I think we've all visited a gas pump and the prices are just skyrocketing already. And now speaking about oil, Iran holds the keys to one of the biggest choke points on earth, the Strait of Hormuz. Every day, millions of barrels of oil pass through that narrow corridor. If Iran shuts it down, oil prices will absolutely skyrocket even more than they already have. So when Trump acts like this is some local skirmish and tells everyone to relax, that's just false. Because this is about power, influence, and nuclear weapons. And just when you think it couldn't escalate any further, well, it does. We're talking about bombs so massive, only the US has them. This isn't just about defense anymore. This is about who pulls the trigger first and who pays the price. One of the first places Israel hit inside Iran was the Natanz nuclear facility. That's where Iran enriches uranium, a key step in building a bomb. Israel claims it damaged the site significantly, but there's another site that's even more critical, Fordo. And Fordo, that one is built inside a freaking mountain. It's covered by 300 feet of reinforced concrete, basically invincible to any Israeli bomb. You know who has the bomb big enough to hit that thing? Of course, the US. They've got these massive 30,000-pound bunker busters. You need a B-12 stealth bomber just to carry them. And if Trump gives the order or just looks the other way while Israel uses American hardware, it would be game over. Because once the US starts dropping bombs, it becomes real and official. We're already seeing signs of this creeping forward. US officials reportedly vetoed an Israeli plan to assassinate Iran's supreme leader, which first of all shows they're already snapping Israeli strategy behind the scenes. Second, that's not exactly what not being involved looks like. At this point, the real question isn't if the US is going to get dragged deeper, it's when. And how much damage gets done before someone pulls back. We've seen this before. We all remember Iraq, weapons of mass destruction that didn't exist, a war built on lies, trillions wasted, and hundreds of thousands dead. And what did it really accomplish? I mean, this time, they're not even pretending there's a coalition. There's no debate at the UN, no vote in Congress, just airstrikes, warships, and backroom coordination while the public gets fed half-truths. Trump's team wants to project strength. They want to look like they're keeping peace while inching towards war. But we know what that really means. Just more chaos, higher prices, and another endless conflict. So here's the bottom line. Donald Trump says the US isn't really involved in this war, but that's a complete lie. American ships are on the move, American jets are in the sky, and American bombs are being positioned. And American presidents, whether they admit it or not, are calling the shots. If Iran decides to retaliate directly, if one American soldier is hurt, if oil shipments stop flowing through the Strait of Hormuz, this won't just be Israel's war anymore. It will very quickly become Trump's war. Thanks for joining me today covering this very elaborate topic. I will try to keep you updated with a summary of any new developments. And if you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so I can keep doing these videos. Thank you so much for watching and have a wonderful day.